Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right, guys. Start of the week. It was not nothing crazy. The start of the day was pretty lame. There was not like a lot of the setups that we were watching. We were in chop. So I will explain that in a minute. Let me get the watch list out here for you guys so we can take a look. So let's see. Yeah. All right. So those are all over plays right here. So today I'll spend most of the time talking about the general mentality of many traders who think we have ran too much and they're trying to short the market. So we'll see. Definitely a lot to learn on today's market move. Although the individual names did not really move that crazy like the market indices did. Although NVDA and Tesla did provide us some good trades. I personally lost in the AMD chop. ULTA kind of also was kind of a chop loser. So we'll discuss a couple of losers and then we'll discuss the market. Market is really going into the FOMO mode. We can't chase stuff up here. We just need like a pullback day. But anyways, today was not a day to pull back. Today was day to the long. Today was not the day to long right at open, but today was day to long after the confirmed long. Okay, so we will talk about that. We'll discuss that. So anyways, I'm going to keep the introduction very small, very quick, so that I can, I'm trying to wrap up today's video in 20 minutes. I have to go somewhere. We have the Indian festival of Raksha Bandhan, if you guys know that. So I have to go there, take a family out. So I'm gonna keep it small. So, anyways, guys, quick introduction. All these trades, recaps, everything that I discuss here are from the any ideas that we discuss on previous YouTube videos, my Twitter, or from my community, right? If you're new to this my videos, if you're new to my community, understand that we have a repeatable trading system. We have repeatable setups. We do them, we trade those setups and system again and again. Every morning I share in the community our daily game plan, our initial buys, support and pivots. We share something called day 2 day 3 setups, daily pivot levels based upon which we can go long and short, daily pivot levels for crypto. 1,000+ traders are live in my community in the morning. I'm on the voice guiding everybody through the trades. We are not an alert service, but I still try to guide. If I have any trade, I try to guide them through the trades. If I'm taking anything long or short, even if I don't take the trades, I don't take all these trades. We're going to discuss, but if I do take, and if it's a loser, we discuss those as well. And I'm on the voice first few hours of the market open. All right, so this is the introduction. A lot of my ideas I do share on Twitter as well. For example, I was sharing the AMD swing chart, SPXL swing, VKTX, bunch of other things that we will, we trade. So we discuss. So anyways, if you need more, you want to know more about everything, just watch the previous recap videos, because today's recap I will might go fast and you might not understand a lot of things. So make sure you go back, revisit the previous videos. Okay, so that being said, let's start with the today's recap. All right. So I'm going to start with this talking about the markets, right? Markets in general, SPY and QQQ. By the way, if you don't know you don't know how to trade SPY and QQQ for a living, you can watch my webinars. It's in the community. I did a free webinar for everyone. But anyways, you can trade SPY, the market, S&P, QQQs, and SPXL, TQQQ, all these ETFs you can trade for a living. You don't really have to trade anything else. If you want to, you can build a living on trading SPY, QQQ, and the ETFs. Anyways, so this is our SPY chart. Yesterday I posted this chart on Twitter. I also posted this chart on community. My general thesis coming into today was that a lot of people are expecting a pullback, and they're not wrong, right? We're up so high from the bottom, right? We're just running every day since that bottom, and it's a V-shaped recovery. So everybody's expecting, like, maybe a pullback, and of course we can't take a lot of swings at highs, but we can definitely trade. So that was the thesis. What I talked about yesterday was there were two pivots on SPY, 555 you see here, and 557. So basically what I meant was, if the bulls are able to reclaim 555, then we can push towards 557, and if we break out of 557, we can push much further. So that was my analysis coming right into it. Of course, I will show you what happened later. You can see the chart, how we are breaking out just as per my analysis, but there's more into this, there's more into it. We will talk about that a tad bit later when I show you the intraday action. But I just want to show you the similar thesis for QQQ coming into today. So similar thesis on QQQ today was the same, right? We extended, there's a support becomes a resistance, there's a gap up. So if we hold 473 and if we push into this yellow zone, we will push into the gap. So that was the thesis coming into today. So you see that, and now I can show you what happened. You see that we start to fill the gap, my continuous guidance on Twitter here, boom, right? So how did we manage that? So I showed you what happened and how you make money on this, and how you save your money, preserve your money, not going short, and how you make money going long on either SPY, QQQ, any of the in ETFs, leveraged ETFs, or buying options. Whatever you do, there's money to be made today. But how did we navigate it? Like, okay, so let's go and see what was my guidance in the community. Maybe I can just show you guys a screenshot instead of going deep down here. Let's look at here initially. So let's see. All right, so let's look at this one, right? So actually I can go into the community and show you something else here. So we are always watching in the morning that what's the market trend, right? What is market telling us? Are we going to go long? Are we going to do short? What are we going to do? Right? We just based upon the system. Our system tells us, are we going to long or are we going to short? So that's what we're going to be tell us, right? So this morning, my general consensus to everyone was, we are starting the day with the chop. How do I know that? When by 10 a.m. we are not making a new high or new low, I know it's a chop. No pre-market high breached, no new high at 10 a.m. Up candle, down candle, up candle, down candle. So till this, so I created this. Initially this was the chop zone right here, and then we see this big red candle. That's fine, you can short this red candle from 512, 3450, but there's no confirmed change in the bearish trend as long as we are over this level. Same thing for SPY, right? And you will find in my live guidance as well. I continuously talked about chop. If you go to my tweet this morning, let's see if you can show you. Okay, yeah, so here you go. So I said we are starting with the chop sideways action. Why? Apple and Microsoft was weak. If you saw my SPY QQQ webinar, you pretty well understand what I'm talking about. I explained this clearly, how this Apple, Microsoft, all those matter when you're trading SPY and QQQ, right? And it was not only that, the market was choppy as well. The semiconductors were selling off. You look at this, SMCI sold off right at open. Nice shorts actually the first 30 minutes. Nice shorts. You look at these candles under our pivots. If I can go through that, all my levels. You could short it in the morning from 617 break, 612 break. It's a short, and people did short into the community. There was money to be made, but that was semiconductors which were selling off. But market was not. Market was choppy, and then QQQ was choppy. And even if you short the market, you will get squeezed because pre-market lows are not breaking down. So continuously I said, right, look here, even when we turn this bearish candle, I said turn bearish, but we need to break the pre-market lows. Short scalps, no need to chase, bounces only. Then we see the bounce, and once we see the bounce, you try to short the bounce, and if it's not rejecting the clouds, you step away, you do not short it. And then we get this setup, middle of the day. This is the setup that we get. I can expand it so that you guys can clearly see that this is the setup. So far we are not making money on the markets. We are losing money if we are trying to short or long. It's a chop, right? So that's my always, you always get asked that, hey Rip, how do you know it's a chop versus trend? I know that when the candles do this kind of action, Apple and Microsoft is weak, some of the names are strong, some of them are weak. So this is all a choppy action. Now I always say chop can always turn into trend. It can always turn into trend, right? As I speak live in my community, this is my traders know, we can be bearish, we can be bullish, we can be chop, from there we can be bearish or we can be bullish. We don't have like a fixed bias all day, right? We were trying to figure out our bias here. My warnings to my community was stay away, stay away, do not do anything until at 10:50 a.m. right here. I should have more alerts going in here. I can show you that. Okay, you see that? So let's see if I can show you that. Okay, so you see that 10:30 market tries to retry the breakout. So this breakout, market now in trend. So I told everybody, if you want long, you can long 555 is your risk. Where is the 555 coming from? 555, my friends, is coming from the daily chart that I just showed you. This pivot is the 555. This one, this pivot, it's a breakout pivot. It was a high from August, and this, it breaks out, we push higher, and then we go to 557, we push higher. So you look at the daily candle and it tells you, how far we can push, how much we can push, and you see the three, this was the breakout. Why was I mentioning 557? Then I also mentioned 557 huge level. I did tweet about it as well, right? I tweeted about it as well. Once we found, that's fine if you didn't make the money or lost money, but this was the time we found the trend. How do I know? This tells me we found the trend. Look at the Ripster levels, we found the trend, right? QQQ was also trying to join at that time. QQQ was trying to break out, we were found the trend, and NVDA was starting to push. Apple, Microsoft were still lagging, and Tesla was trying to break out, and we found the trend, and that's it, right? So that was the time. Initial risk was 55. We pushed to 557. Again, the importance of the levels. We reject that level, hold it, right? Again, there's no short here. There's no short. It's actually making a nice breakout flag here. Pull back, swipe up, pull back, swipe up. If you're trying to short market here, it's not worth it. It's just a retest of the breakout. If you extend this line, it's a retest of breakout. And then we make another breakout setup. And all I say on that action is that QQQ broke out as well. 557 target, 477 target, SPY next leg up. Then once we break 557, I mentioned that breakout. Then 477, I mentioned this breakout. And then Apple and Microsoft join the trend, and market pushes crazy at the end. Not only that, right? Even at the end, when we had this end of the day squeeze, I had this. Let's look here. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, so you see this. I don't really trade end of the day lotos, but you see this. I mentioned at 325 that we are flagging. We're still holding the trend, and this was the flag, my friend. This was the flag, and this was the squeeze breakout. Look at that move. It's a beautiful move, right? Small range, but it's relatively good. Good move on lotos. 100%. Lotos went 100%. So guys, that was the life cycle of the trade. Every day is not going to be perfect. Every day the market has a personality. Sometimes market has choppy, sometimes it's bullish out of the gate, sometimes it's bearish out of the gate. Today it didn't do anything at 10 a.m., but it did the breakout in the middle of the day. So my friends, that was the psychology. So you long here 555, and you could long literally anything, right? SPXL, you long here, stops at 150, you could make $2-3 by end of the day. QQQ, TQQ, you could trade that. So I encourage a lot to trade leverage ETFs. You could long here with 68.50 risk all the day. You could have made a couple of dollars per share, right? So it was very easy to make, risking $500-600 for a smaller account to make few grand today, or for the large accounts risking few thousand to make 3,000-4,000. So that was the setup, that was the trade today on SPY QQQ. My continuous guidance, very proud of my community. We do polls, right? So I asked my community what was the confirmation for the long. 63% people replied correctly, other couples did not, but I explained to them that morning dip and hold was not confirmation, because we can hold the morning dip and then we can go to the chop. That was not the confirmation. Yesterday highs was not a confirmation on SPY because it's still choppy. The real confirmation came when we broke this flag pre-market highs, right? For in the QQ, yes, you can say that yesterday highs was a confirmation as well, but the real confirmation came when we, broke out this pre-market high. So again, I talk about the inside days. I talk about that when you do not trade when the market is inside day trade. You trade when we are doing inside out. When you trade SPY QQQ, you trade inside out. So that's a big concept that I teach. Inside out, trading the market inside out means the candle is going over yesterday's highs, pre-market highs. It's pushing high. When the candle is between the previous day, then you're not going to make much money that day. So that's important concept. Remember the concept of inside out and all these other concepts that I talk about. All right, hopefully you guys did good. I got a really good DMs on Twitter today. A lot of you guys are even not in my community, studying a lot from my education that I provide on you know in on the Twitter. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's quickly go through the rest of the plays pretty fast. I spent a lot of time on SPY QQQ. That's fine. I'm going to discuss AMD. So what was happening with AMD today? So AMD, I think I was a little biased, but our system was also giving us some signals. So let's look at what we were doing on AMD. So AMD, my initial call on today was to short it because the 150 was a big level. We were coming into the resistance. And if I show you the chart I shared, this was actually AMD was a actually I can show you the AMD chart. If I show you, there was a complete life cycle. There's not our swing in the community, but I did share a chart idea for the free followers from 137 that this area $5, $6 is a good risk reward for a swing trade, and we break out of that 138, then we go to 141. You see that before and after, then we go to 150. So my target was 150 on this idea, and we gapped up, right? We gapped up, and I was expecting a lot of resistance here, and we never short against the trend, but I saw the weakness. We were gapping under 3450 at the open, and I didn't wait. I did not really wait for the amateur move to end, but I did start a little short here, right? 149.50s. But I did tell everyone we do not short if it moves over the 150. So, anyways, it pulls over. It pulls over that 150. Exit the short. Take a loss, take a dollar loss, and then we look for the longs. But the long, again, the chop, right? If I'm using the 150 level, it's chopping me. Then I need to use this low of the day, which expands my risk. If I'm trying to add 150, that's too much of my risk, right? So this initial action was a problematic, right? This is the action which caused the loser today. So it happens, right? It's part of the game. Very well, AMD could have rejected, and the Samis would have tagged, and we could have had a sell off. But after that, AMD just kept going, and only trade, I didn't touch it after those two tries, loser for me. But in the community, the traders were asking me, hey Rip, how we trade that. I explained to them that to trade AMD, what you need to do is you need to use the 150 170 risk right here, the trade right here. Look at the timestamp, right? That is the risk you need to use, because this is a daily MTF cloud, and then you want to watch to see if you can push higher for the breakout. And that was actually not a bad trade from 158.20s to 155s, right? So what was that? It was almost almost a $3 move, $2.5 $3 move. So that was kind of a setup that traders took. But this morning chop was a loser for me. I'm sure other traders might have done good, but definitely a loser here. Just wanted to explain why we have to. If I did not take amateur move, I think I still would have lost on this this long move if I did not short here, because this candle would have stopped me out. Because I can't risk. This would be a wider risk if I'm taking a position here. And if I'm just waiting till 10 a.m., yes, if if you took position right here, like when right here, what was the time? 10:20, and maybe that's the time when market started to push, like this candle, when market showed this candle, maybe that would have been a good entry if I watch on market. So there's something to learn here, right? So this would have been a good entry with the market long. But even then, when market went sideways, it broke back, right? And then this was a good midday setup. So that was AMD morning loser and the guidance on the midday. All right, let's look at the next one. Next one we're going to look at is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, we did much better. The reason NVIDIA was much better trade for us, first of all, we saw a lot of call flow, right? I was on the, we have all of our scanners, and I was on the voice in the morning. So I told everybody a lot of flow coming in, a lot of flow coming in, and you see, Sammys were getting strength, right? And there's a lot of flow that was coming in on NVIDIA. So a lot of flow was coming in on NVIDIA, and it was pretty strong. It was pretty strong. And then there was 128, 130 calls, 128 calls, bunch of the calls that were coming in on NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, once it starts to push here, so once it confirmed the long, it did kind of a chop with the market, but it was unlike others. It was still kind of pulling back and holding 3450s. It's still pulling back, and this is when the market started to push, right? I can show you here. So this is when the market started to push, and this is when it reclaimed the clouds. It was better than the other names because it had a lot of option flow, it had a lot of strength. And once it started to push over this breakout level, that's when I mentioned that we can push higher to our target of 127. And then NVIDIA starts to push, you see all the breakout alerts start to go on NVIDIA right here. Let's see here. So all the breakout, and not only that, so let's look at this chart on NVIDIA that I provided here in the community in our week ahead tab, right? So let's go back, let's look at that chart, right? So maybe I can maybe I can wait, I can just show you there. Hold on. So you see, this is a NVIDIA chart that I shared in the community in the pre-market, a weekly chart. So 125 was a key pivot to break out today. 125. So that was a key pivot. Why was that a key pivot to break out? Because this area, you see this, right? So you see that, let's just turn this off. You see this breakout, right? So you can clearly see that what I'm trying to show here, previous level, previous level, previous level, previous level, and the breakout, right? So that's why the NVIDIA was a main play today in the community, because of this very reason, because it was trying to break out of, and those the charts I provided everybody in the, I started new thing where I provide all the weekly charts to everybody in the on the Sunday night. So you can see that from that time NVIDIA was started to push, and then we had a seller at 127, it clears 127, I gave the next target of 128, we met our 128 target, the final target I gave 130, which we actually met in the very last 10-minute candle. So you see that, right? The strength, the strength, and this would not have been worked if the QQQ was not doing this. If the Qs are doing this, we know that NVIDIA can do that, right? So NVIDIA can follow the Qs. It's that simple. So this move on Qs is which is giving us long on NVIDIA. It's that simple, right? So our SPXL was doing the same. Our swing almost touched 41-50%. So that was let me see if I can show you. Yeah, so you can see how SPXL, our swing is going from the MTF clouds, reclaimed MTF daily, continue to push. You could trade anything, right? You can trade SPXL, QQQQ, and NVIDIA is the strongest of the tech, so it's helping in these trades. That's why we are making good moves there. So next one we're going to look at is Tesla. So let's look at Tesla and see what Tesla was showing us. Tesla was actually showing strength right out of the gate. Let's see. So initially Tesla was bearish. You see this when Sammy's pulled back. So Sammy's pulled back. The first candle, you see this candle, amateur candle, that was bearish. Initial candle bearish, but Tesla turned bullish right here. This was the bullish move, and this was the bullish move, and when it started to flag out, this is the trade setup that I'd shared with the community. And if we can go back and see the levels of Tesla right here, Tesla 219.80, 217.35. So 219.80, this was the main breakout setup. When you see this consolidation, then you can enter here. And I said breakout over 220, risk is 216, right? So kind of like $2 risk. If market pushes, will be the main one, right? So once it started to break out, I gave everybody 222 target, and we did meet the 222 target. It pulled back, kind of all broke, but reclaimed, and then continued to push. So that was the Tesla trade, nothing crazy, but this setup was the Tesla trade, this flag here, right here, and it was not right at the open. The trade was right here, not a clean setup. Again, the morning chop was kind of a little troublesome, but that was the setup. All right, let's look at some more quickly. Let's look at snow. So snow was a game plan trade. Let's look at our game plan. What's the game plan on snow this morning? The game plan on snow was 126.8 was support, 128.90 was resistance, bias was neutral. But once it broke that 128.90 pivot I gave, it went on to push to the MTF clouds. Solid mover, you just have to follow the pivots and trade it long. All right, the next one we're going to look at quickly is LQDA. Not going to spend too much time. It was gapping up. It was on our game plan right here. You can see that 830 support, 10 and 11 were resistance. We did not touch it but then I saw this alert coming in. The price alert came, 512 calls. The 512 actually happened much earlier, 890s, but we did take it at $9, and from the $9 we pushed $1, 512 call, repeatable setup, exit on the 512 breaks, just $1 move, risk was 20-30 cents. Beautiful trade, midday 512 call winner. All right, let's look at the next one quickly. So next one was a ZIM. ZIM was another one from our game plan. So ZIM was, revenues, the earnings go to profit, revenues rise, outlook good, guidance. It was a bullish to neutral setup. The breakout was 22.68 and 24, and initial candle was an amateur candle. Again, a lot of these candles today. So this today was a little tough in the amateur moves, but later it pushed higher over 512. So that's where you take it long. Triggered long, and you have to watch the pullbacks after that amateur move, and then it was a good scalp, maybe 23.74, nothing crazy, but it was a decent mover. Once it breaks 512, you get out. Let's look at another one. EL was also, it was choppy. There was nothing here. Amateur move down, then this big move up, and then chop all day. Really didn't do anything there. We were watching for the I did tell everybody do not long, because we can short it, but it never really confirmed the short, right? It never broke the MTF clouds. Keep eyes to short, but it never really broke the clouds and started to bounce. So there was no trade there. So there is another one, was a big winner today for us, ASTS. Every day it runs, every day it provides the opportunities. Today it was all about the community. I'm not even gonna go into the community, because the thing is, everybody thinks it's too high. That's not how it works. You saw my previous videos how we killed it on Thursday, and today it was all about the community. See, the resistance pivots were 30 to 36, support pivot was 30, and you see that, where do I find those resistance pivots from? I find from yesterday's level. As soon as it starts to break out, there's confirmed long. You can have your risk at 31 and or the 512 clouds, and you see how the whole community is coming together. Mikshu is showing the flag. Dami is talking about the 33 breakout. Slaughter is talking about the breakout. RGV is guiding through their breakout, and you could literally take 1,500 shares, whatever, and you could have made like huge bang today, because literally it went into this target, right? That's what the target I gave. 37 was always the previous day high, is always the first target. Pulled back, holds it, and then again breaks out. And we did hold some 40 lotos. But the point here is, guys, these setups, these are IPOs. They don't really have any resistance. Of course, the fundamentals might be strong, but or the hype might be strong. We don't really need to look at fundamentals. When you can look at this weekly chart, it's over an IPO highs. When something is on IPO IPO highs, there is no resistance. It can go as far as it wants to go, but this one has a hype. This one has an option chain, so gamma is in play. This one has a short, so short squeeze in play. No resistance. I mean, this is an A plus long setup. It's that simple. You don't need to like size crazy, and you don't need tight stops. You need few dollars stop, $2-3 stop to make $10 on these names. That's how this thing moves, and this thing can easily go to $50. Eventually it will come back, but right now the momentum is strong. The 1 hour is strong. 512 is strong. So you need to understand these plays and these opportunities. We don't get a lot, but when you get these opportunities, we pounce on it. As you see, the whole community today was on ASTC. I mentioned on the voice as well. First thing in the morning, that was my voice idea, and then whole community was trading ASTC, ASTS all day. Beautiful winner. Beautiful. Very proud of my community. Everybody came together and just did so good. All right, guys, let's talk about ULTA today. So ULTA was a kind of bummer. It was amateur move up. I told everybody to watch the pullbacks. The pullback was working. Then it pulled back again, and it was kind of a loser here. Very ugly daily candle, but a loser trade. The 512 didn't really work, the pullbacks. Some other decent movers in the community today. NVAX was good one. I love NVAX. I've been talking about NVAX for days. It's on our watch list every day. I like it as a swing versus 12. And that's what I mentioned in the morning as well. Bullish versus MTF, swing watch, hourly watch. And the breakout was 1320, and it didn't look back. Once it broke out of 1320, it pushed to 14. Good for day trade, good for swing. It's on our watch list every day, right from the game plan. Beautiful trade by the community. Love it. All right, let's look at VKTX. So VKTX, this one is all kudos to our Vinod, who nailed it all day in the community, guiding everybody. Usually VKTX, everybody knows it's my long-term play. It's my long-term account, versus the 50, and we have it on our day 2, day 3 watch list every day. And the traders were just on top of it. Let's see, so let's see. I gave the targets to the community, but let's see what was happening here. So let's see if I can find Vinod's post. Why was it on Vinod's eye? What was the setup that Vinod shared with everyone? So this was the setup, right? So let's see. So Vinod shared this chart that we are setting up on the daily. So you see the downtrend line breakout. You see this nice little breakout, and today the breakout triggered. You see that the breakout triggered. And that's what Vinod even posted on the VKTX community, that there's a breakout. So there was the breakout, and you can see that the flow started to come in on, and the VKTX was nicely pushing, and you can see that the initial flag that Vinod shared on as well here, yeah, right here. And after that, VKTX, it was just about the targets. Our targets the targets I gave on VKTX. So find your targets. You just go to the daily chart, look at the previous resistances. The targets I gave was 66.20 and then 68, and we met both the targets. It's very strong. It's crazy move. Let's see how tomorrow goes. I'm not really sure why the volume came in, but it was a solid move. You didn't need to look at the news. Nice teamwork nice work by the team. Big winner on the community. All right, guys. I wanted to discuss the monkeypox plays. Don't have time right now, but maybe I'll post something on them. It's just a theme play, so watch the theme. If theme dies, the place dies. Follow the cloud rules. Anyways, guys, hopefully you had a good day. See you guys tomorrow in the community or in the Twitter. Take care. Bye.